Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second video of my series. It is about chess, my experience, how we can enjoy chess, how can we learn about it. Now, in the first video, if you remember, I was referring to the first chess book I ever read. It was authored by Triandafylos Siaperas. At that time, meaning in the 70s and the 80s, it was the only chess book in Greek. And I had mentioned the aspects of the book that really surprised me, and I still remember them so many years later. And we're going now to go through them one by one. First, you should always expect your opponent to play the best possible move. This means that you should not set up traps or swindles, as they are called in chess terminology, unless there is nothing to lose if your opponent sees everything, and expect your opponent to see everything. This is what the book said, and it is valid for most cases except one, I would say. If your game is completely lost and under the best possible game, you're still losing. Then, instead of trying to find the best possible move that is going to lose you either way, rather, what you should think is the following. What kind of mistake can my opponent make, and how can you do it? Put yourself in your opponent's place and think, if the situation was the other way around, what is the mistake that you might make? And try to make your opponent commit the same mistake, meaning set a trap that may make them fall into the same mistake. But unless this is happening, you should always expect your opponent to play the best possible move and react accordingly. The second point is at the very top level. We are talking about grandmaster level. If you lose a pawn by mistake, and I'm not saying about compensation or gambits, or you get other advantages, but if you really lose by mistake, this basically means defeat, and usually the grandmaster that makes this mistake is going to resign. Number three, it's impossible to advance in chess with pure talent without studying and getting assistance, either from books, from coaches, magazines, on the internet, or any other way. It's impossible to advance on your own. The equivalent, as the book said, is imagine a bright kid being taught the axioms of Euclidean geometry and to be expected to invent the entire Euclidean geometry from that. And then one point I did not mention, and I need to share it with you now, is that you should never take back moves when you play. Many times it is a custom, if some friends play and one does a gross error, meaning puts their queen on prison, it's called, or something like that, then to ask to take it back. But even if your opponent agrees, I would say don't do it. Train yourself under serious and tournament conditions. You make a blunder, either resign or continue from this inferior position and see how to fix it, ideally the second. And since we're talking about resignation, when you should resign, this I didn't see it in that book, I saw it in another article. It said the following. This I saw it much more recently. It said, let's assume the situation was the other way around and you had a strong position and you had a position that is going to win. And let's assume that you are facing none other than the world champion of chess. Would you still feel confident to win? If it is an easy theoretical win, like queen and king versus king, of course, then resign. But other than that, if you don't feel that you could beat with that superior position the world champion of chess, then stay. Continue and see what happens. You never know. And we're going to talk in another video about the psychology of chess, how you should make sure that when you win, you really win until the end and you don't suddenly lose a game. And when you're losing, how you can change things around, or at least you can try to do so. Another aspect to discuss before was the rating system, and my rating, as I mentioned, was 1554. Now, what does rating mean in chess? There was a Hungarian mathematician called Elo who became very famous with his chess rating system. This means the following. If I start before a tournament, I have a particular number, then depending on the results, my number can go higher or lower. If I tie with someone who has exactly the same rating with me, rating stays the same. If I win, rating goes up, and the stronger the player, meaning the higher the rating before the game, the more points I gain. And if I lose, my rating goes down, becomes lower, and if the weaker my opponent, the more points I'm going to lose. And what if I tie? If there is a draw, if I tie a stronger player, rating goes up. I tie a weaker player, rating goes down. And now let's see what is my rating. How can I find it? Let's try to share the screen. Share button is here. And here you're going to see the page of the US Chess Federation. In fact, the home page is here. You see the various categories about community education, play, ratings, join, and give. Of course, there's a give in case you want to donate money. Now, we're going to the rating section. Player ratings look up. And you put here, if you know the member ID, you write it. I know my own. 1275, 1933. You click the search button and you'll go to the, let's do it now. Let's do it in front of everybody. Search and see where we're going to go. You see my name goes down. My rating, this is the regular rating, is 1554. There is a quick rating for games that last much less. It's 1476. The Blitz is for Blitz games. Haven't played any, so it stays to 1200. Online, I haven't played online from the US Chess Federation webpage. I've played other uh, games online. Correspondence, I haven't played any correspondence for US Chess Federation, but the really serious one is the regular rating, that is 1554. Let's click my name now and see what will come up. Here we are, 1554. Now, what does this mean? The highest ratings in the world are just above 2800. In fact, the only people with above 2800 are the people that have either become chess world champions in the past or are very near there and have a very good chance to become the future. Magnus Carlsen from Norway, who was a chess champion for more than 10 years until he decided not to defend his title, has the highest of all. Every month it is re-evaluated. This is for May 2025. And what does it mean? Overall, meaning the United States among the 79,294, my position is 11,146. And in New York State, out of 8,480, my position is number 1176. And this puts me about the top 1/7 of the players. Better than average, not where I would like to be. Now, how did this come from? There are many ways to do it. Here is the tournament history. According to the US Chess Federation, I believe they are correct, I've played a total of 85 rated tournaments since 1991 when they started counting. In fact, I've been a member since 1999, so this is correct. And they have them the most recent to the oldest. The most recent you see went down from 1558 to 1554. This was the Queen's Chess Club tournament. And let's see what happened there. There, Mr. James Bonin and Christos Pamboukis and Harry Lai were the three winners. 3.5 points out of 4. How did I do? I got 2 out of 4. 2 losses and 2 wins, as you see here. And although it was an average result, I ended up losing a few points. So 1558, I went down to 1554. Let's go to the oldest, the first tournament I ever played. This was back in 1999. You see, it is 10th of May. Manhattan Chess Club. Out of 10 players, by the way, the tournament director is the same one that won the most recent one, the international master Jay Bonin. At that time, 8 out of 10 spots, 10 positions, 2 losses and 1 win, and from non-rated, I had the temporary provisional rating, a score of 1127. When was my best one? My best one was January 20, 2019, when I would jump from 1518 to 1683. I had played in the category U1700, meaning that only players with rating less than 1700 were allowed to play. And how did I do? Well, great. I got first place, you see here. 4.5 points out of 5 with 4 wins. The W's are wins and 1 draw. So I drew the second player, Warren Chin, but he had the second draw. That's why I passed him in the end, and I got the first place. Now, about these tournaments, some of them take place nearby. This means that you all need to drive or take the train to go there. Others take place in far away, so you would need to book a hotel and arrange for transportation. It might take some hours and so on. And the Youth Chess Federation really, for prestigious tournaments, they help you with transportation. Now, how to find the most prestigious tournaments? Here we are. We start with the webpage chess2.com, and there we click on schedule of upcoming tournaments. The ones for the next couple of months, you have them even with links. You can click on the link and get all information and even register if you click enter now. You can even reserve the hotel. There was one that took place about a couple of weeks ago in the Niagara Falls. The next one is in Chicago, end of May. Then in Connecticut, in early June. Cleveland, you see it here, and so on. But if they were in the future, you'll see them below, but without clicks, meaning you can only learn about them when and where they are. Go all the way 2026, 2027. But these are the big prestigious tournaments that take place in hotels. They make sure, of course, like in every tournament, that it's very quiet. The atmosphere is very quiet. And in case you want to participate, please be careful. You're not allowed to have your cell phone with you. Why we're going to discuss in the future what you can do with a cell phone. Meaning, if I was allowed to have my cell phone in a tournament, I could even play the world champion of chess. And if he was not allowed to have his cell phone, I could beat him. Now, if you don't want to go too far away, you can find your local tournaments. Me in Long Island, the one I usually go every month is what's called the Chessanity tournament. To go there, you start with chessanity.org. Tournaments are tournaments. And here's the next one that takes place June 8th. The problem with that is that the rating, if you are rated above 2000, you're not allowed to participate. The categories are U2000, meaning only players with a rating less than 2000 can participate in this category, and the others are even more restrictive. There is even one, you see, U400, meaning only very beginners with ratings less than 400 can participate. This is the next one I'm planning to participate myself. Before goes okay and I can make it, then I might try in these YouTube programs to show you the various games. Now, that is about the over-the-board tournaments and over-the-board games. But today you can always play online without leaving your house from your computer or from your iPhone. All you need to do is have Wi-Fi connection. The most important, the most prestigious web pages for chess is chess.com and LI Myself, I'm a member of chess.com, and I'm going to show to you now what can you do and how can you go. Let's share the screen once more. And here we are. Now, if you are very new, meaning you've never been before, you start with chess.com here and you sign up. You create your account. How? Click sign up. And you may click one of the 4 categories. If you're new to chess, beginner, intermediate, or advanced, and whichever one you want, you click the button that says continue, you put your email, you create a password, and then you have your account. And since one is not allowed to have more than one account, I'm not going to do it for myself. In fact, there is one exception for educational purposes. One could create a second account. I might do it in the future, not at this point. What if you have already established an account, like me? Go to YouTube, my account, and what can you do there? Username, the Harry. Why? Because Harilaos, my Greek name, is abbreviated to Harris. I tried to have user ID Harry, it was taken, so I put the Harry. Password. No, I'm not going to share my password with you. And what can you do here? Many, many things. Let's start with the play. You can play online with a person of similar skill, meaning you ask for an opponent and they'll provide one that has a rating that is similar to yours, meaning it can only differ from your rating. Usually it's 200 points, but you can change this value. Bots. Bots are the computers. You can see tons of computers with different skills. Some are very, very weak. Some are extremely strong. Play a friend. If you have a friend in chess.com, you can invite them, and if they agree, you can play with them. Tournaments, you can join a tournament where you face other players and the various rounds of elimination. Variants, they are based on chess, but they're different things. The most famous of all is the so-called freestyle. The rules are slightly different from chess. Now, let's assume that you want to play online. You can choose the times, time control that is. Bullet means 1 minute, meaning each player has a total of 1 minute for their whole moves. And this can go down all the way to 21. What does this mean? It means that every player starts with 20 minutes, but after every move, they get an extra second. What does this mean? That in chess, if you exceed your time, meaning if your time goes down to 0, you automatically lose the game. Unless there's an exception, there's a position that your opponent could not win, then it's a draw. Doesn't matter how great your position, you might be one move away from checkmating, but if your time goes down to 0, you lost it. Blitz, the times go from 3 minutes, meaning every player has 3 minutes for the entire game, until 5-2, meaning 5 minutes for the game, but after every move you get 2 extra seconds. The rapids go from 10 minutes to 60 minutes. And then we have the daily. Daily means that you don't need to be in front of your computer. You may choose to have between 1 day to 14 days for every move. And this means that if you want, you can spend tons of time checking every move and make sure you play the best possible moves. However, in online, you are not allowed to use computer assistance or assistance from anyone else, whether it's a friend or anything else, or even read from your notes. There are some exceptions with the daily and the openings, but usually don't use outside assistance. If you do, you may be reported and you may face consequences for that. Now, how about my own ratings? How do I find them? You go to which is more, what does it say? Somewhere it says stats. Tell me, what does it say? No, sorry. Here is chess.com stats. You'll see my statistics. For the daily one, it is 1343, so you're the most important one, which sets me in the top 4.7% of the chess players. How do I find that? From 100, I subtract 95.3. This means I'm the top 4.7%. And once again, the rating on the online chess.com is similar with the over the board, meaning depending whom you face and how you do, you gain or lose points. In the Blitz, 1703. I'm the top 1.7% of all the players. In the Bullet, 1400. I'm the top 5%. And the Rapid, 1850. I'm in the top 0.3%. Even 0.3 means that there are 55,457 players better than me. Now, something else I need to inform people is, especially over the board, don't be surprised if your rating starts falling as you continue. The reason being that in the last few years, chess has grown an enormous expansion, and there are many players that are much more stronger. This means that if you, let's say, for the top 10% of the players and your rating was a particular number, now you need to become much stronger to remain among the top 10%. If you keep your same skill, you'll not be in the 10, but you may be in the 15%, something like that. So your overall rating will go down. On a personal level, it's frustrating to have to put all this effort and still see your rating go down. You saw with me, I had reached a peak of 1683. Now I'm down to 1554, but this should not surprise you and should not depress you. On a personal level, it's not very nice, but on a chess level, it's wonderful that we have so many more people interested in the game of chess and playing and advancing. Now, at this point, concluded the second video, explained a few things. We're going to continue with more things in future videos. More about the games of chess and more about chess streaming. Thank you for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.